Welcome, you're watching news now on TV360 Nigeria. I am Annetta Felix. Police in Plateau State have confirmed an attack by unknown gunmen at Ariri community in Bassa local government area. The police is yet to give an official death toll, but some witnesses say 18 people were killed in the attack, with some others even putting the toll at 23. 4 others were also reportedly injured, and Plateau State have been hit by a series of attacks by unknown gunmen in 2008. The most deadly attack was in June when over 100 people were killed after gunmen attacked 11 villages in the Bakin Ladi local government area and its environs. Well, this arrest comes hours after the Nigerian army announced the arrest of 30 persons for the alleged kidnap of a missing retired army personnel, Major General Idris Al-Khali. The suspects were arrested in the second phase of a joint military operation in search of the retired general. The first phase of the operation involved combing the entire Darodu community in Du district of just South local government area of Plateau State. Al-Khali, former chief of administration, Army Headquarters Abuja, was declared missing on the 3rd of September 2018 while on his way to Bauchi from Abuja. The army has assured that the operation would continue until the senior officer is found. Well, in Kaduna, a high court is fixed November 7 for the ruling on the bail application filed by the leader of the Islamic movement of Nigeria, Ibrahim Zakzaki, and his wife Zenat. Justice Gideon Kudra adjourned the case after the prosecution counsel, Dari Bayero, complained of lack of adequate security in Kaduna town. Zakzaki, his wife, and the 2 other IMN leaders are facing trial for an 8-count charge brought against them by the Kaduna state government. The allegations include alleged conspiracy and culpable homicide. Both the defense and prosecution counsel admits that the heads of security agencies in the state had complained of their inability to draft adequate personnel to provide security at the court. The National Judicial Council has recommended the dismissal of 2 judges for alleged corruption. The judges are Justice R.N. Ofili Ajumobia of the Federal High Court and Honorable Justice James T. Agudu Fishim of the National Industrial Court of Nigeria. The NJC also recommended the voluntary retirement of a judge and ordered him to refund 2 years' salary and emoluments. It also issued a letter of advice to 1 judge and placed 4 High Court judges under investigation. The decisions were taken at the 87th meeting of the National Judicial Council. President Muhammad Buhari has met with 9 governors of his ruling All Progressives Congress. The other governors of Imo, Zamfara, Ogun, Plateau, Ondo, Kebbi, Niger, Oyo, and Nasarawa State. The meeting comes at a time the party is battling several internal crises arising from state primaries. The governorship primaries in Imo, Zamfara, and Ogun State have been cancelled owing to irregularities which marred the exercise. In Ondo, the decision of the National Working Committee of the APC to disqualify some aspirants loyal to Governor Rotimi Akeredolu from participating in the National Assembly primaries is causing ripples in the state. The NWC panel had screened out aspirants in constituencies where federal lawmakers are party members. Now, after the meeting, Imo State Governor Rochas Okorocha told newsmen that the discussions focused on finding a solution to the crisis that has engulfed the party in its ongoing primary elections.
We reviewed the various crises characterizing our primaries, especially the APC, and with a view to finding solutions. So we're looking for a way out in this regard, but we're going to find a solution. Our party believes in justice, equity, and fairness, and we're requesting that let the right thing be done and let everyone contest elections.
The meeting also comes hours after some angry youths protested interference by party leaders in the primaries in the Federal Capital Territory. The youths clashed with police officials in the city as they marched around the capital to drive home their demands.
Armed with various placards wielding different inscriptions, this group of protesters are out here in the Federal Capital Territory to demand the resignation of the national chairman of the All Progressives Congress, Adams Oshiomhole. They are accusing the former Edo State governor of interference in the primary of the FCT chapter of the party.
All states in Nigeria, including FCT, we are given options to pick the mode of their primaries. And in FCT here, we have decided to go on indirect primaries after meeting with the party stakeholders and the all aspirants contesting in different positions. But to our greatest surprise, some hours to the primaries election, that from the above, that is no longer indirect primary, is direct primary. We are not in support of that. FCT have decided to go on indirect primaries. Anything outside this is not our choice. Anything outside this is outside our plan. Anything outside this, it is none of our concern. And we are sending a message to the whole world that if anything happens to any life in FCT, the national chairman of FCT should be held responsible. We are after the concern of the lives of people of FCT. FCT is like a smaller Nigeria. FCT is like a smaller Nigeria. If the peace and unity in FCT is affected, the whole Nigeria will put in this area. We have no any other place to go apart from FCT. We are telling the whole world they should call the national president of FCT into order. We are sending the messages to the all stakeholders concerned that we are after the peaceful coincidence of this country, especially in the FCT. We have adopted indirect. FCT have decided no going back, no going back, no going back.
The protest later turned violent as the protesters pulled down a banner carrying the picture of Oshiomhole and President Muhammadu Buhari. They also clashed with police officials who managed to quell the unrest.
In Lagos, Governor Akinwumi Ambode has asked his supporters to back Babajide Sanwo-Olu, the winner of the All Progressives Congress governorship primary. Ambode lost his bid to compete for a second term in office, polling 72,901 votes to Sanwo-Olu's 970,851 votes. The governor has congratulated his opponent and pleaded for unity among party members. The incumbent governor also promised that he will ensure the smooth transition of government to the next governor of Lagos.
Hello, Lagosians. The last few days have witnessed intense political activities that have gripped the attention of the nation and created palpable tension in the polity. I strongly believe that the time has now come for the state to move forward in order that the gains of the last 3.5 years are not lost. Dear Lagosians, APC is a great party, and the interest of our beloved state must always supersede that of any person or group. It is in this regard that I wholeheartedly congratulate the winner of the Lagos State APC primaries, Mr. Babajide Sanwo-Olu, and urge all Lagosians to immediately support our party's gubernatorial candidate in the 2019 elections and work for the success of our dear party. As governor, I will do everything possible to ensure a smooth transition in the remaining period of this administration and ultimately to the new governor come May 2019. I therefore appeal to all our party members that we remain one family and unite behind the candidates of the party so that we can continue to move this state forward. The progress of Lagos State is non-negotiable. It is a project that I have passionately worked for in the last 3.5 years as your governor, and one to which I will forever be devoted. I wish to use this opportunity to thank our national leader, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and the leadership of our great party at the state and national levels, all party faithful and all Lagosians. I thank all Lagosians for their faith and trust in me. I urge you not to relent in your support for our party as we prepare for the general elections.
A civil society organization, Stand Up, Speak Out Initiative, SUSO, is calling on Nigerians to change their attitude to help the nation develop. The The convener and president of the group, Dol Edeni, made the call at the launch of the Stand Up Speak Out initiative in Abuja. Edeni says the biggest problem confronting Nigeria is the perception and attitude of Nigerians to the country. Also speaking, Ibiera Deteme, board member Suso, says the main objective of the Citizens Project is to reorient Nigerians on the values of the nation.
We have systems in place that calls people to account, and here our systems are not well developed. And that is what all of us are working towards. And that's part of this effort, that all of us will live as good citizens and will do our job to project our image right. So it is not so much of fighting the system, but for calling each one of us to make the system work in such a way that we depart radically from the definition of the perception of who they think we are to actually showing them who we really are. So is stand up, speak out. But you are not just speaking in terms of saying things with your mouth, but also your life's work. Who are you? How do you go about your daily task in terms of the way you work at your office, your public life, how you relate with people? Even when you travel outside of this country, are you conscious of the fact that you are a Nigerian? And there's a general perception that your people are evil. You have an opportunity to disprove that by not by shying away from being a Nigerian, but shining the light to see who a true Nigerian is.
Basically, when Suso speaks about reorientation, we're talking about the reorientation of the average Nigerian mentality. For example, you talk to people every day in different workplaces and they're telling you, if I'm not connected to somebody, I don't get anywhere. And so people are not working based on merit anymore. You go to schools and nobody bothers about working hard and passing your exams in the normal way or going for interviews and going through the normal process. They're always thinking about who is there to help me or what do I do differently to get there. So it's no more about your merit, it's not about your hard work. And that's a consciousness we need to change.
It was a bad September for residents of Niger State in north-central Nigeria. Over 40 people were killed in heavy flooding, which were caused by heavy rains and the opening of the Shiroro and Jeba dams. The water has started reducing, but not after residents felt the impact of the disaster. Well, this next report highlights the exact impact of the flooding on the people and how the government has been responding to it.
This is the situation in some communities in Niger State after torrential rainfall and the opening of the Shiroro and Jeba dams. Over 40 people have died in the disaster, which has swept away acres of farmland, major roads and submerged houses in 130 communities. The disaster represents a heavy loss for most residents in the north-central state, whose major occupation is fishing and farming.
This flood is usually normal come every year. Just like 4 years now, it's usually come every year. But before, as in the come, we are very appreciative about it. But since the last 2 years, it is usually coming and spoil our foods, and we not even get fish as we are getting before. We are suffering on it because it's damaging some of our rooms.
Before, we here, we pray for flooding because by the time you get your fish, when you go fishing a day, you got something like 20,000, 30,000, we didn't care about it. But now, no fishing. And there was a time we change to the farming. Now, all our farmland clear away. Nothing more. The only thing now, we don't have anything to do, just looking ahead of the state government or NEMO or FEMA to assist or to take us to another place so that we will have another better settlement.
The victims of the flooding have now been put in several internally displaced persons camps in the state. There have been distributed materials by the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, and the State Emergency Management Agency. The Nigerian Air Force is also offering support.
It's been the tradition of the Air Force to reach out to the people. I think that this has given us more successes because people see Air Force as their own. It's not as if Air Force is there and they are there. We are now having that synergy between the community and the Nigerian Air Force. So it's encouraging us to reach out to more communities with similar problems or are displaced by insecurity. This program is targeted at the camp in particular, and the community as a whole. So adding up the camp and the community, we are targeting that we'll see between 4,000 and 5,000 patients within a period of 5 days.
Their stay at the IDP camp may not be for long, since state government officials have pledged to ensure they are resettled quickly.
The issue of resettlement has been seriously considered by the governor, and they have directed our agency, Ministry of Land, Ministry of Works, to make sure within the shortest possible time, make sure these people are resettled, land are provided, and they will be mapped out, cleared, then plotted, CFO will be allocated to them. And those that have the capacity to do it on their own, they will be allowed to do so, and those that don't have the capacity, government will still look inward to see how better it can assist.
The state government is, however, not seeking to do this alone. They want more interventions from international government and agencies.
We are talking about 130 communities submerged by water, and we are looking at their health facilities, and we are trying to evacuate them, camp them, provide all these health facilities. It's overwhelming. So that is why we are calling on federal government to come to our aid, which NEMA have started coming in. So we appreciate, but that is not enough. We still need more. We are looking at not even the Nigerian government, the whole world. We are looking for assistance to high.
For now, it seems the worst is over. The Minister of Water Resources is already allayed fears of a possible increase in the flooding.
The water level in Lokoja had dropped by 6 centimeters, and it's still going down. The water level in Lagbo Dam in Cameroon is also going down. So hopefully the worst is over, except if there is some unforeseen and unprecedented amount of rainfall, which is very unlikely, but not also unlikely to happen.
The minister's comment will be good news to not just residents of Niger State, but also residents of 12 other states where 199 people have been killed in one of the worst disasters in Nigeria's history.
We have more news coming up across today's business and sports. Stay with us.
Corruption not in my country. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, madam.
My name is Alero. I am not sick. I just need you to help put your stamp on this medical report. I want to tender it at my office as a sick leave. I'll pay 10,000 naira.
Ma'am, that is impersonation. I'm not a doctor.
Oga, be like say this English no go pay. I go increase the money to 20,000 naira. I beg. You know, if I give you that 20,000, as you ride, so you know, if it still help your condition more. So you know, say you spread well.
As I spread like virus, I mean.
You talk.
Come out! If person come your hospital, talk to make you give am fake medical report, make you go take collect sick leave. Talk and say no, na corruption. Not in my country.
Corruption not in my country.
Stop corruption now.
It's time for business now. Let's join Esther Vese. Hello, Esther.
Hi, Aneta.
What's the latest in business today?
Well, actually, the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, has injected $210 million into the interbank foreign exchange market as it seeks to boost liquidity and alleviate dollar shortages. The bank released $100 million earmarked for the wholesale market, $55 million for small businesses and individuals, and $55 million for certain dollar expenses such as school fees and medical bills. Now, the Apex Bank also says there is no cause for alarm over the dwindling foreign reserves. The CBN spokesman, Isaac Okorafor, listed a hike in interest rates by the U.S. Federal Reserve and its interventions in the capital market as the reasons the reserves have been dwindling. Okorafor said the reserves can support between 17 and 18 months of imports, whereas the international standard is just 3 months import. At present, Nigeria has $44 billion in its foreign reserves. And the federal government has approved a 90-day special window for micro, small and medium enterprises, MSMEs, to register their business at 50% reduction in cost from 10,000 naira to 5,000 naira. And this offer lasts till December 31st, 2018. The Vice President, Yemi Osinbajo, disclosed this at the launch of the 19th edition of the National MSMEs Clinic in Enugu State. He noted that the move is aimed at further ease the process of registering small businesses in the country. He also announced the federal government's willingness to partner with state governments in establishing more one-stop shops. And this is to further enhance business registration and facilitate seamless interaction between owners of small businesses and relevant regulatory agencies. Oil prices on Thursday slipped from four-year highs reached the previous session, pressured by rising U.S. inventories and after sources said Russia and Saudi Arabia struck a private deal in September to raise crude output. Now, Brent crude oil futures were trading at $86.14 a barrel, while U.S. crude futures were down 18 cents at $76.23 a barrel. Russia's and Saudi Arabia's actions come as markets have heated up ahead of U.S. sanctions against Iran's oil sector, which is set to kick in from November 4. And many analysts expect to knock around 1.5 million barrels per day of supply out of the market. Now, on the demand side, there is increasing concern that high oil prices and weakening emerging market currencies are creating a toxic inflationary mix that could erode fuel demand and economic growth. Now, we're going to take a quick look at the trading at the NSE today. Well, with another day closing in favor of the bears, the equity market closed Thursday's trading declining by 0.09%. Now, leading the bears is the consumer goods sector with a 0.71% decline, while the silver lining in today's apparent dark cloud is the oil and gas sector, recording a 0.47% rise in the sector. Now, leading the price gainers, we have Cement Company of Northern Nigeria, Forte Oil, and here we have Zenith Bank and Cutix. We recall from yesterday's trading, Zenith Bank and Cutix came in on still maintaining the third and fourth position on a top gainers list. And for losers, we have Okomu Oil, Nigerian Breweries, GlaxoSmithKline, and ETI, that's EcoBank Transnational Incorporated. And for traders, we have FCMB, who was here yesterday, Fidelity Bank, here still on the traders list yesterday, Guarantee Trust Bank, and Nascon Allied Industry, the only equities from the consumer goods sector on a top traders list today. And in summary, we have a total of over 150 million shares valued at over 1.5 billion naira in just over 2,300 deals. And if you take a quick look at the global stock market, we'll see all the London Stock Exchange, the American Stock Exchange, and the Asian Stock Exchange closed in the reds against yesterday's green, and red. Today we have all of them in the red. And that's all I have for you, Annetta.
Thank you so much, Esther. Now, it's so interesting for me looking at the Dow Jones because, just yesterday, the Dow Jones recorded a historic high ever before.
Yes,
and today the market came crashing down. Well, thank you so much for that update, Esther. Up next is news and sports and on the foreign scene. Just stay with us.
Corruption not in my country. How work? Correct, Oga. What is it that you are doing? Oga, they command the part now. Make we go sell for.
Oga, na correct kuza be this so. Oga Titus and him boys them. They do am. They will command the original parts, sell them, make plenty kuza.
No wonder our customers bring the generator back to our workshop because they bad. And not because of stuff.
Now because they overuse the generator. Plus say NEPA no they give them electricity.
Before I open my eye, Makachuku look at my talk in the heaven. Replace this original generator parts back inside this generator of my customer. In short, before una do am, frog jump. One. Frog jump. 1, 2, 1. Stealing of generator parts or changing of original parts to a fake one. That is the corruption. Not in my country.
Corruption not in my country.
Stop corruption now.
Campaign group Human Rights Watch has called for an investigation into a series of massacres in Beni in the east of Democratic Republic of Congo, which has left more than 1,000 people dead over the past 4 years. The rights group say over 200 civilians have been killed this year and many were hacked to death with machetes or were shot dead. It wants the International Criminal Court and UN peacekeepers to investigate and prosecute those responsible. DR Congo officials blame the violence on Ugandan rebels, but HRW says other armed groups as well as Congolese army officials are involved. It says the attacks are complicating efforts to tackle the Ebola outbreak in the eastern DR Congo, which has killed more than 100 people since August. The dead toll from multiple quakes and a tsunami in Indonesia's central Sulawesi province has risen to 1,424. Ahead of the planning department of the National Search and Rescue Office, Abdul Haris says the research and rescue operation was hampered by poor access to the hardest hit areas. Electricity has been restored and shops began reopening in Palu on Thursday, but the fate of many thousands of people in outlying districts are still unknown. International help for survivors has gathered pace, but communities in more remote areas have been cut off by broken roads, landslides, and crippled communication, leaving people increasingly desperate for basic needs as aid has only just begun to trickle through. 3 pupils have been killed after being struck by lightning in Uganda's northwestern district of Yumbe. Ugandan Red Cross Society spokeswoman Irene Nakasika confirmed that the pupils aged between 9 and 10 died on the spot at Mungoyo Primary School when the lightning struck on Wednesday. The total number of children affected is 75 and 53 have since been treated and discharged from hospital. Heavy rains have also destroyed homes and claimed the lives of 2 people elsewhere in Uganda. Liverpool say midfielder Naby Keita is fine after being taken to hospital with a back injury he suffered in the 1-0 Champions League defeat by Napoli. The Ghanaian received treatment on the pitch in Italy before being taken off on a stretcher after 19 minutes. He has been assessed and will return home with the Red squad on Thursday. Keita, who joined from RB Leipzig for 84 million euros this summer, has made 9 appearances for Liverpool this season, including 4 starts in the Premier League. Liverpool host rivals Manchester City in the top flight on Sunday, and Keita has not been ruled out of that game. Portugal coach Fernando Santos has confirmed Cristiano Ronaldo will not take part in Portugal's next 4 internationals. 5-time Ballon d'Or winner missed the 2 internationals Portugal played in September. At the time, Santos suggested that the 33-year-old's absence was temporary and intended to help the star attacker adapt after his move from Real Madrid to Juventus. Since then, accusations that Ronaldo committed rape in 2009 have resurfaced, although he denies them. This autumn, Portugal is due to play 3 Nations League games against Poland on October 17, against Italy and Poland in November, and a friendly against Scotland later this month. Gareth Southgate has been rewarded for guiding England to this year's World Cup semi-finals with a new contract. The 48-year-old's new deal will see him through to the 2022 World Cup in Qatar and see his pay rise to a reported €3 million per year. Southgate was appointed as England manager in 2016, taking over from Sam Allardyce, and now under his leadership, England reached the Final 4 of the 2018 World Cup. And that's the latest around the world at this time. Thanks for watching News Now on TV360 Nigeria. I am Annetta Felix.